If you don't know who did this right now, you ain't my partner in crime, man.
Unworthy of these realms, unworthy of your title! You're unworthy!
Yeah, what's good with y'all boys and ladies? Thank y'all for coming by. So look, 5 unsolved murder mysteries, man. Y'all really like this shit. You know what I'm saying? Something really wrong with y'all. Y'all really crazy. You feel me? But I'm crazy too. So let's get straight into it. You feel me?
5 unsolved murder mysteries that are very creepy. Number 5, Didnt Sarin. It was Valentine's Day 2007. Didnt Sarin was 39 years old, and despite being mentally disabled, she was high functioning and lived in her own apartment in Carlsbad, San Diego. To make sure she was okay though, her parents made a visit to her every day. That evening, Didnt's parents checked in on their daughter like usual. They knocked on the door, the lights were on, but no one answered. After several tries and calls, Didnt's father, Art, broke down the door.
Hey, Pop still
Once
got
inside, they walked through her dark bedroom and were shocked to find their daughter having sex with an unknown man. Upset but thinking they walked in on an awkward situation, Art told the man to get dressed and leave while both parents waited in the adjoining room. The man did as he was told and left. Minutes passed and the parents waited, but Didnt never came out of her room.
Don't tell me this nigga was...
After asking for her to come out several times without a response, they decided to go in. There, they were treated to an even more shocking sight than what they had just seen. Didnt was lying in the nude, dead. She had been beaten and strangled to death. It was later clear that while her parents were waiting for this man to get dressed and leave, he was also killing their daughter at the very same time.
Damn, that's tough, bro. You saw your daughter getting raped and murdered?
Same time. The man left without Didnt's parents knowing anything. With the amount of bruises she suffered, it was clear the sex between the two was not consensual, and her parents had witnessed her being raped in front of them without even realizing it.
Damn.
Crime scene and
That's
collected
tough.
DNA evidence, and although they tried to find a suspect, the case went cold. For 11 years, no one knew who raped or killed the woman. Over the years, as advances in technology arrived, investigators would run the suspect's DNA through various databases, but it was always a dead end. But then recently, they turned to phenotyping and forensic genealogy, hoping it would solve the mystery. Phenotyping recreates what the suspect may have looked like based on the DNA. Forensic genealogy, meanwhile, uses existing DNA from family trees freely submitted online to find familial matches. This was the same procedure used to capture the Golden State Killer. When investigators used this technique on Didnt's case, one possible name came up: David Mabrito. Mabrito was a former Oceanside resident and was 38 years old at the time of the crime. Once his name came up, it was a matter of obtaining his direct DNA from another law enforcement agency, but as it turns out, his DNA was never entered into a system because he had passed away in 2011. Even though police say they are sure that he raped and killed Sarin, they still don't have answers on motive or whether Sarin even knew the suspect at all. Number 4, Terry Bevers. Teen Terry Bevers, also known as Missy, arrived at Creekside Church in Midlothian, Texas at 4 a.m. for an early morning fitness class she was leading. But minutes before her, church surveillance captured a figure dressed in what appeared to be full SWAT gear. This individual carried a hammer and what looked to be a small crowbar. Although it wasn't captured on camera, the intruder and Missy did encounter each other that morning. When one of Missy's students arrived at the church for class, police received a frantic 911 call stating that there was an unresponsive woman inside. Missy didn't survive the attack, and it was later revealed she had suffered multiple stab wounds to her head and chest. 3 years after the murder, the case still remains unsolved. Even though there was clear surveillance footage, police still have no suspects or concrete leads. During the initial phase of the investigation, scrutiny focused on Missy's husband, Brand, but it turns out he was 600 miles out of town on a fishing trip during the killing. People then believed the murder may have been a robbery gone wrong and that Missy was just in the wrong place at the wrong
Full SWAT gear for a robber, bro.
time. But the idea of robbery seemed off as the intruder looked half-hearted in trying to pry open the doors or even steal anything from the church at all. The intruder also left Missy's diamond wedding ring on her finger. If robbery was a hit, then most likely that would be the first thing they took. Investigators estimate the intruder to be around 5'2" to 5'7". From the video, they couldn't distinguish whether the person was male or female. It's also noted the killer had a very distinctive walking gait. Although the investigation still doesn't have any solid evidence of who the killer might be, internet sleuths are pointing to one potential suspect, Brandon Bevers' father and Missy's father-in-law, Randy. According to them, Randy seems a likely suspect since days after Missy was murdered, he brought in a blood-stained shirt to the cleaners. Randy said it was from a dog injury, which supposedly the vet confirmed. But footage of Randy walking, though, seems to match up with the height and weight of the intruder. Even more telling was that the distinctive gait also mirrored Randy's. After Missy's death, investigations revealed the couple had been having marital as well as financial difficulties.
It was a hit. What'd I tell y'all? Don't nobody dress up in full SWAT gear to rob somebody. Unless they're robbing a government bank where they know they're going to encounter police. But nobody, this is a hit, bro. Bro, they was going through it. Son talking to his pops like, man, bro, this bitch getting on my fucking nerves, bro. She ruining my life, yada, 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 whatever. So pops being pops, it's like, look, you got an insurance claim on her? He's like, yeah, I got insurance on her. He's like, all right, say less. Let's see.
There were also allegations Missy was having an affair, and so it's believed Randy may have helped his son out of the relationship. But Randy seems to have a solid alibi and said he was out traveling in California at the time of the murder. Even though until now there's no resolution to the case, the Bevers are still hopeful that one day they will find an answer as to who killed Missy.
Hey, so off rip, that was a hit. Son and Pops was talking. Son was probably drinking a beer after a fight. Probably said the magic words to his Pops. Pops probably never liked her. Son was probably drinking and was like, I wish this bitch was dead. Light bulb. That's all Pops needed to hear. Pops did the rest, you feel me?
Considered a child prodigy, Candice Hiltz was already doing calculus by the time she was 11. She lived with her mother in Cannon City, Colorado, but while still a teen, Candice found herself pregnant and she gave birth to a daughter named Paige. One day, Fremont County Sheriff's Deputy Robert Dodd arrived at the Hiltz home looking for James, Candice's older brother. James suffered from such severe paranoia that he lived in the wooded area at the back of the family's home. The officer said he wanted to question James about a trespassing incident. Both Candice and her mother were present during the questioning, and at some point, Candice didn't like the officer's tone and let him know about it. In the end, a shouting match ensued between the two. When the officer threatened the teen he would arrest her, she put up her wrists and dared him to. Then Candice said she had seen the officer accepting envelopes from known drug dealers in town and would gladly let his superiors know about it. Days after this incident, the family came home and realized their dog was missing. They thought it was odd but figured the animal had wandered off or may have been attacked by a mountain lion since they lived in the forest. Candice went to the sheriff's office to report her dog missing, but got into another altercation while there. It's unsure whether she got into a fight with Officer Dodd or if it was others. Then on August 15, 2006, Candice's mother, Dolores, left home to run errands. While out, she realized something was off and called the neighbors to have them check on Candice, but they never did. Then when Dolores got home around 3:30 p.m., she went inside the house to find her granddaughter Paige crying and screaming inside her crib. She then found pools and spatters of blood, but still there were no signs of Candice. She ran to the room to pick up Paige, but discovered something stuffed underneath the bed. It was wrapped inside a green comforter. Dolores opened it and felt sick to her stomach when she found her daughter dead. The girl had so many gunshot wounds to her face that it nearly decapitated her. Dolores then called 911. The two officers tasked to lead the investigation was Deputy.
You looking at me right now. We both know who did this shit, bro. If you don't know who did this right now, you ain't my partner in crime, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm Sherlock Holmes. I need a partner. You know, matter of fact, call me Inspector Gadget. Inspector J. That's my name. When we do these shows, these episodes and shit, Inspector J. I need a partner in crime to solve these things. If you don't know who fucking did it right now, you don't qualify for the position, my G.
Driscoll and Deputy Dodd, the same officer Candice had an altercation with. According to the family, the investigation was shoddy at best. Despite being veteran officers, the two left behind a lot of evidence uncollected at the crime scene. The area wasn't taped off properly, and people walked in and out, contaminating the crime scene. Worse still is that almost immediately, the officers pointed to James, Candice's mentally ill brother, as the main suspect. They organized a manhunt, searching the wooded area behind the home, stating they were looking for evidence, but the family believes it was a ruse to find James. It was during this search the family dog was found. He had been tied to a tree and then butchered with an axe. People believe the dog was taken to stop him from alerting anyone if an intruder went inside the home. Others say it was to taunt the family. Candice's murder became a cold case. Officers still pointed to James as a possible suspect, even though he denied it and had no history of violence whatsoever or even owned a gun. What's more is that it was clear from the investigation that Candice was shot by 3 different people and suffered gunshot wounds from several different guns. Fast forward to 2017 when Rick Ratzliff bought a storage unit for $50. Inside he found police lights, police uniforms, and case files.
Deadass, I want to do that auction, storage auction shit. If you want to, hit me up. Let's do that shit. Sorry, that's selfish.
Then he discovered a box marked evidence, and he knew he had found something that wasn't supposed to be there. When he inquired who had owned the unit prior to his purchase, it was none other than Deputy Officer.
If you, man, quit playing with me. If you didn't already know it was cuz, you get off my channel. I don't even want you here. I don't even want you. I'm sorry. I don't want your view. No, I'm joking. Stay.
Don't you ever say that. Stay here. Stay as long as you can. For the love of God, cherish it.
Jennifer, why don't you try reading?
Oh, sorry.
Robert Dodd. Rick told police about what he found, and his wife recorded the interaction. The conversation between the officers was threatening, and in fact, they forced him to keep his mouth shut about finding the evidence inside the locker. Dodd's family also tried to buy back that locker from him. Inside the evidence box, they found the axe used to kill Candice's dog, as well as the blood-stained rope. There was also bloody socks and a backpack containing Candice's bloody shirt. Then at a landfill outside of Cannon City, more evidence was found from a sexual assault case Dodd was involved in. The officer had thrown that out as well. Eventually, the word got out about the locker finding. The evidence was taken and held by the Colorado Bureau of Investigations. They have pledged to look into the misconducts with the Fremont County Sheriff's Department. Dodd eventually faced trial in 2018 for abusing public records and 2 counts of second-degree official misconduct. When asked why he had kept the evidence, he simply said, "No comment." Many believe Dodd, as well as other officers, might have been involved with the case, or at least botched it from the get-go, although there's no concrete proof tying them to the murder. Despite Dodd and the police's handling of the evidence, no one has been arrested in Candice Hiltz's death. Number 1.
Bro, quit playing with me. Nigga, as soon as they said the cop like made threats to arrest her. Come on, bro. That's a gimme. That was probably the easiest murder case to solve. The only reason why he not in jail or whatever is because he's a cop or was a cop. And we all know cops stick to their own, right? You know what I'm saying? Especially back then. Hey, man. Yeah. Appreciate y'all for sticking through. Let me know. Y'all want to see more. I already know you do. Matter of fact, don't even tell me. Just hit the like button for your boy. You dig what I'm saying? Until next time, my people.